Good day, and thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to join me here. My name is Michael Panamero. Welcome to your gateway to the lucrative $136 billion factoring industry. Before I tell you a little bit about me and how I got here, I wanted to let you know that I believe this may be the most important presentation that you have ever watched when it comes to making an immediate and significant change in your financial future. And you could already be sitting on a gold mine by simply learning a new skill that you can add to what you're currently doing or on its own. Over the next 30 minutes or so, I'm going to share some of the best content and valuable information that you're ever going to get about this lucrative multi-billion-dollar recession-proof industry that keeps growing every year. Soon you will discover that today represents the single best time in the history of factoring to be working in this dynamic industry. My organization's core mission is to make the daunting task of finding more immediate cash flow easier for businesses across North America when traditional bank financing is not an option. We continue to deliver on this mission through our elite business consultant and referral source network. So with that said, what results do you want to take away from this industry corporate overview? What results do I want to take away from this industry corporate overview? Because in the end, isn't this about the results? I believe you are here to do a little investigating to find out what can the factoring industry do for you? What can I do for you that can help you get you closer to your results? I'm here because I'm looking for a few solid business professionals that we can quickly train and support to leverage their professional skills, background, and contacts where we come together to work together to continue to deliver on our core company mission. And that is what this industry corporate overview is all about, getting all of us closer to our results. So please take good notes. And if you have any questions, please write them down. Because after the session is over, you will have the opportunity to ask questions and discuss next steps. So to tell you a little bit about me and how I got here, my journey in the factoring industry started back in 1999. I was a business partner in a small industrial detergent company. We manufactured concentrated, dense blend laundry and dish powder detergents. I was the marketing guy, and my business partner was the production guy. We had 4 employees. Our sales were approximately $200,000 per month. We manufactured and sold our detergents to industrial wholesalers, distributors. We did some private label for the retail chains and coffee chains, and we exported as well. One day I got a brilliant idea to bid on a government contract to supply all the federal penitentiaries their laundry and dish powder requirements. In order to be competitive on that tender, I negotiated substantial early payment supplier discounts under the stipulation I would pay my suppliers in 7 days of receiving the raw materials. Well, guess what? My company was successful in winning the government contract. The government contract was worth almost half the value of my current sales, a giant feather in our cap. So with all the excitement, we went ahead and we manufactured and shipped the first order, and then we waited for payment. The government paid us in 60 days. What were the payment terms to my suppliers? 7 days. How was I going to pay my suppliers in 7 days when I'm getting paid in 60 days? So I went back to the government procurement officer to ask if they could pay us a lot faster, and the procurement officer's answer under the terms of the contract, we pay our invoices in 60 days. If you're unable to meet the terms of the contract, there are other companies standing behind you that could. So what was I to do? I didn't want to lose the contract, but at this rate, I couldn't pay my suppliers in 7 days if I had to wait 60 days to receive the payment. There was no profit left in the transaction. So what does every person do when they need money? What does every business do when it needs money? Well, we went to the bank, but we were declined because my company was growing too quickly. We really didn't want to give up the contract, so my business partner and I ended up trying to finance our business using our credit cards, and we almost lost everything. Until one day, as fate would have it, I saw an infomercial on TV an infomercial claiming they had a program that would teach people how to broker mortgage notes and business invoices for cash. This really caught my attention because many families carry mortgages, and doesn't every business create an invoice when they sell something to their customer? Well, my business sure did. So I invested $8,000 to go and learn how to do this. Now don't worry, you're not going to be asked to invest 1 red cent of your own money. That is not what this is all about. Anyways, I enrolled into the program, and on the last day I learned about factoring. And it changed the way my detergent business did business forever. We were able to keep the government contract and get out of the credit card debt we had piled up. From there, I realized that this could help my business. It could help a lot of other businesses. So I started exposing and educating my customers and my business contacts to the concept of factoring. And I was paid a substantial referral fee by financial institutions to send these contacts to them. Soon after that, I realized I enjoyed helping businesses resolve working capital issues more than I did selling detergent. So I got out of the detergent business, sold my partnership, and became a full-time factoring broker. Shortly after that, I received membership into the industry's $1 Million Club. With my success in 2001, I was asked to open up the Canadian operations for a factoring company out of the United States. This led to me traveling all across North America as a visiting instructor and guest speaker for the American Cash Flow Association and the Commercial Finance Association, educating thousands of business owners and business professionals on how to work, succeed, and profit in the factoring industry. In 2008, I founded the Finance Institute. The Finance Institute has grown into the industry's premier and very first and only virtual digital training and support lead generator on the planet. Fast track to today, you will also find me as a managing member of Pivot Financial. So enough about me, this is about you and how we can come together to work together to get closer to all of our results. During this industry overview, you will learn 3 things. You will learn why now is the single best time in history to be taking part in this lucrative $136 billion recession-proof industry. You will learn how you can leverage your professional skills and business contacts to earn a substantial income. And you will learn how to gain the knowledge and the confidence to find your first transaction immediately after this industry corporate overview is finished. So just pick up any newspaper or read any online publication, and you will discover article after article, post after post, comment after comment addressing the fact that banks are still not lending to businesses across the country. And what is more shocking is that business bank loan application decline rates are reaching epidemic proportions. Just take a look at the article found here in the Business News Daily. The title, 6 Factors That Keep Your Business from Getting a Small Business Loan. Topping the chart as the #1 reason, poor cash flow. A recent study by the Credit Research Foundation reveals even more shocking facts, that 82% of all businesses are reporting poor cash flow. The report goes on to read that 92% of new businesses will fail in their first year due to the lack of available working capital, and 100% of all businesses will struggle from slow or no cash flow during their existence. These companies cite the lack of available working capital, the tightening of cash flow, and the slowdown in customer payments as the 3 major issues that are having disastrous effects on the viability of their businesses. So what is factoring? Why is it important to a business? And why is it important to you? Companies large and small across this country every single day are delivering products or rendering services. In order to be competitive, they can't always insist their customers pay COD, cash, on delivery. So in addition to providing the product or rendering the service, they issue an invoice. Now I'm sure you know what an invoice looks like, but let me bring to your attention an important section of this invoice indicated by this little green box right here called terms. Typical terms issued by vendors to their customers for early payment of their invoices is 2% 10 net 30 days. What does that mean? Well, if a customer pays for their invoice within 10 days of receiving the invoice, the vendor will discount the invoice by 2%, or the customer will receive a 2% discount off the total value of this invoice. If the customer pays for their invoice after 10 days and before 30 days, the customer is required to pay for the invoice in full. By listing terms on an invoice qualifies the invoice as a legal document or a short-term note. And I want you to remember that. So in addition to providing the product or rendering the service, the vendor issues an invoice, and now this invoice becomes an accounts receivable, and now they wait. What are they waiting for? Well, they're waiting to get paid. They're waiting to get paid 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, and even longer. Did you know that the national average for customers to pay for their invoices across the country is a staggering 73 days? Did you know that it's estimated that small businesses across North America carry over $825 billion of invoices at any given time? Here's another fact. The average small business across North America invoices between $100,000 and $500,000 each and every month and now waits to get paid. While these companies are waiting to get paid, other orders are coming in. While these companies are waiting to get paid, they have to find ways to fill the new orders, to pay their employees, to pay their suppliers, to pay their rent, to pay for their utilities and their taxes. And this vicious cycle continues to happen every single day to small, medium, and large businesses around the country. So let me ask you this question. If the banks aren't lending and customers are always paying late, where does a business go to get the money it needs on a daily basis to thrive? Small to mid-sized businesses that need the cash to thrive are turning to factoring to sell some or all of their accounts receivable to get the money that they need fast. Just take a look at these numbers. At a time when many industries had been floundering, the factoring industry has been experiencing explosive growth. And this industry continues to grow every single year. And what is exciting is that all indicators continue to point to the fact that we can expect much of the same for the unforeseen future because, like I said before, this type of financing is recession-proof. When the economy is strong, companies will use factoring to fund their growth because banks don't like when a business grows too quickly. When the economy is weak, companies will use factoring to survive, to meet their fixed costs, their payroll, etc. So what is factoring? How does it work? And how can you begin to work and profit from it immediately after this overview is finished? Well, the actual definition of factoring goes something like this. It is the purchase of business to business or business to government accounts receivable which are current or outstanding invoices for goods or services that have been rendered in the past for a discount fee. Let me repeat that for you. Factoring is the purchase of business to business or business to government accounts receivable which are current or outstanding invoices for goods or services that have been rendered in the past for a discount fee. It's important to note that factoring is not a loan. There is no interest charged and it's similar to a cash discount that the vendor offers their customer for early payment. Remember that 2% 10 net 30-day term that we talked about. So how does it work? Well, there's two key disbursements associated with a factoring transaction. The first key disbursement is called an advance, and the second key disbursement is called a reserve. The advance takes place when the business vendor receives up to 95% of the face value or the total value of the invoice when the invoice is purchased by the factor. The reserve takes place when the business vendor receives the balance once the customer has paid for the invoice in full, less the discount fee charged by the factor. To illustrate how the simple concept works, I have prepared this example for you. Let's say for the purposes of my example, the business vendor had an invoice of $100,000. And let's say the factor decided they were going to advance 90%. 90% times $100,000 equals an advance of $90,000 that the business vendor would receive immediately after submitting the invoice. When you subtract the $90,000 away from the $100,000 invoice, you're left with $10,000 or 10% of the invoice. The business vendor would receive this $10,000 back once the customer has paid for the invoice in full, less the discount fee the factor charges. So, how does a factor generate revenue? Remember, a factor is not a bank. Factoring is not a loan, therefore there's no interest charged. Factoring is the buying of an invoice at a discount. Banks make their credit decisions based on the financial strength, the financial wherewithal of the business and the business owners. How long the company has been in business, if the company is profitable, and what assets can they be used as security. A factor isn't concerned about any of that. Factors make their credit decisions based on two things: the creditworthiness of the customer, so who is paying for the invoice, and the length of time it takes for the customer to pay for the invoice. A factor accelerates working capital into a company and earns discount fees for providing that service. There are over 55 million small to mid-sized businesses across North America, but less than 10% utilize factoring because it is a fact. Most people and businesses have never heard about factoring and the many benefits before. And that's where you come in. So is the factoring industry saturated across North America? Well, on the contrary, did you know that in the UK, the United Kingdom alone, over 75% of all businesses factor? Across Europe, over 54% of all businesses factor, and these numbers are growing. Can you now see why today continues to represent the single best time in history to be taking part in this lucrative industry? Providing alternative working capital solutions to small and mid-sized businesses is becoming the hottest professional consultant opportunity of this decade. And although you may have never heard about this career before, Yahoo Hot Jobs recently voted factoring among their top hottest professions, as reported by Joy Victory of Payscale.com. Now, to save you time, I'm not going to read this entire article, but let me sum it up for you this way. There has never been a better time than right now to be working in this industry. So ask yourself this question: how many business contacts do you know? How many businesses do you know that provide a product or service to another business or the government? How many businesses are in your area that provide a product or service to another business or the government? Now ask yourself, how many of those businesses do you think are getting paid in 30 days, 60 days, 90 days and longer? The answer is all of them. All of them. I only want you to expose and educate one to a handful of these businesses by exposing one. One can change your financial future better than you could ever have imagined. And here's what we know. Every accounts receivable department in those businesses is pounding the phones every single day, chasing their money, chasing their customers to pay faster so they have the money to make their payroll, pay their suppliers, pay their fixed costs, taxes, etc. And that's where you come in. In our industry, our practitioners are called business consultants or cash flow consultants or referral sources. Professionally trained individuals that can quickly uncover, expose, and educate a business that needs money in this vast industry. I'm seeking professionals that are interested in leveraging their skills, their background, and contacts to learn this new skill to add it to what they're currently doing or on its own. Many of our consultants and referral sources work in this industry part-time or on a spare time basis and are earning the type of income they deserve. They can set their own hours and work in a virtual home office environment, and it will cost you zero on how to learn how to do this. In our organization, we work as a team and we succeed as a team by following a simple blueprint called the FEAST process. The FEAST process stands for Find, Expose, Educate, and Support. As a business consultant, a cash flow consultant, a referral source, your role is simple. Find one business that has customers that are always paying late, expose the company to the concept of factoring, educate the company about the many benefits of factoring, then you ask the company to complete a short client profile that looks like this. Then you send this information to one of our file managers and you step aside because we will provide all of the support to intercept, structure, and close the transaction for you. Notice I did not say sell. I said expose and educate. You see, we have a captive audience. The statistics tell us over 82% of all businesses are reporting poor cash flow. The national average for customers to pay their invoices across North America is a staggering 73 days. Business bank loan application decline rates are reaching epidemic proportions. Your goal is to find one company. All I want you to do is focus in on learning how to find one company and finding it fast. Then I will teach you how to leverage that company to immediately create more prospects. Leads are not our issue. What we do with the leads we have is what this is all about. And with over 20 years of experience in this industry, here's what I know. With all of our training and support, if an individual can't expose and educate just one company that needs money to help them thrive, then that individual is simply not trying and has failed to recognize what this is, how big this is, and the opportunity that is being extended to you. The opportunity to own a franchise-like business without ever having to invest a franchise-like fee. Nothing. Zero. So how is a business consultant or a cash flow consultant or a referral source compensated? I think you're really going to like this plan because there are many individuals that earn anywhere between $50,000 to $250,000 per year by simply following the fees process. This is not rocket science, and we've made it possible for anyone to quickly learn this new skill. As our referral source or business cash flow consultant, you can get paid a big chunk of the discount fees we generate because we will pay our referral sources 10% and business cash flow consultants 15% on all the gross factoring fees that we generate for the life of the factoring relationship with the client. And depending on the type of company that you refer to us, you can get paid each month for up to 18 months, 36 months, 5 years, and even longer on the gross factoring fees. Notice I did not say net. I said gross before any expenses are taken off the top. A partnership of the highest order. Now, before you even ask what is the difference between the 10% or the 15%, here's your answer. We have a myriad of professionals that add this new skill and service to what they're currently doing, and they just refer qualified prospects to us. We have many individuals that have referred their current or former employer to us with zero conflict of interest, and we pay those professionals 10%. If you don't mind doing a little extra work for us and gather some simple information like the client profile, we will pay you 15%. It doesn't matter to us on which role you decide to participate in. And here's what I know the statistics tell us. 3 in 5 people know of a business, and 2 in 5 people own a business. Guys, you don't know who your contacts know or who they could lead you to. This is how I started in this industry and have taught so many others to succeed. This is not about knocking on doors or dialing for dollars. Yes, there are over 40 hot industries that are inherently attracted to what we offer, and we will expose you to them. But my suggestion is pick a niche. Pick an industry that you know very well and become the go-to person for factoring in that industry. This is simple and it's not complicated. All of us get paid to talk, expose, and educate. We don't sell in this industry. Most people and businesses have never heard about factoring before. So what does this compensation mean? It means long-term recurring income. Planting a seed once and then farming it, harvesting it over and over again. So how much money can you earn? Well, quite frankly, the numbers will surprise you when I show them to you in a minute. I always remind our business consultants, our cash flow consultants, our referral sources, if you aim at nothing, you will hit it. If you aim at nothing, you will hit it. So before I reveal some real numbers for you, let's set your first goal, a measurable goal, a target if you will. I want you to take a few seconds and write down your answer to this question. How much money would you need to earn per month to make a significant difference in your life right now? How much money would you need to earn per month to make a significant difference in your life right now? I want you to be honest and I want you to be realistic, and I want you to write that number down. When I rejoin you here in about 5-10 seconds, I am going to share 2 real-life case studies with you that I think will help me bring some reality to the type of recurring income you can quickly generate. I'll be back with you in about 5 seconds. Okay, so what I'd like to do now is share 2 real-life case studies with you. I think this will bring some reality to the type of income you can quickly generate. So let me introduce you to Synchromesh. Synchromesh is a small industrial fertilizer manufacturing company with monthly sales of $98,000. Synchromesh was recently awarded a large contract from a new industrial customer to supply a truckload of industrial fertilizer each month for the next 12 months. The total value of the purchase order each month, $88,500, almost double that of Synchromesh's current sales. Now, in order to bid on the contract to be competitive against their competition, Synchromesh negotiated early payment supplier discounts with their suppliers and received special pricing on the raw materials. The special pricing was awarded under the stipulation that Synchromesh pay their suppliers in 15 days. The industrial customer ended up paying for the first order in 60 days. When Synchromesh approached their customer to see if they could get paid earlier on all future orders, their customer said they would prefer to pay in 60 days. The issue, Synchromesh must now be in a position to pay their suppliers in 15 days on all future orders, even though their new customer pays in 60 days. So what is Synchromesh to do now? Well, they have to find another way to raise the cash to pay their suppliers early, or they're going to have to turn down the rest of the contract because there's no profit left in the transaction if they can't receive the supplier discounts. And what's worse, they will probably lose this new customer altogether and any new orders in the future. So Synchromesh went to the bank, but they were declined for financing due to 2 reasons. 1, the bank thought that they were growing too quickly. And 2, the company was only 2 years old and didn't have enough financial history to qualify for bank financing. This deal was referred to us by someone like you, a business consultant, and the transaction we structured went on to look something like this. Purchase order value each month from the new industrial customer, $88,500. The factor ended up advancing 85% for a total of $75,225, more than enough money to pay the suppliers. The factor charged a fee of just 2.5% for every 30 days the invoice was outstanding, and this customer paid their invoice in how many days? 60 days. So 2.5% for the first 30 days plus 2.5% for the next 30 days equals 5%. 5% of what? 5% of the total value of the invoice, $88,500. When you multiply those 2 numbers together, you would get to $4,425 in total factoring fees. If you were the business cash flow consultant that introduced this deal to us, how much would you receive? 15%. 15% times $4,425 equals residual monthly income of $663.75. If you were the referral source that referred this deal to us, how much would you receive? 10%. 10% times $4,425 equals recurring monthly commission of $442.50. In the industry, we call these small deals. Well, guess what happened in this deal? Synchromesh realized that every time they create an invoice, they could factor it and receive immediate working capital to run their business. So they went on to factor all of their receivables. Their current sales of $98,000 plus their purchase order of $88,500 from the new customer for a total of $186,500 each month. And guess what happened to the business cash flow consultant's commission? It grew to almost $1,400 each month. Do you know how long some people have to work to get paid $1,400? What about all of Synchromesh's customers? Do you know why they're paying late? It's because their customers are always paying late. This customer list now becomes your new prospect list, and you can expose and educate that customer list through our happy client, and we'll help you close those transactions. Okay, so let me introduce you to healthcare and nurse staffing. Healthcare nurse staffing is a temporary staffing agency that provides nurses and other healthcare providers to hospitals, labs, nursing homes, retirement homes, etc. Healthcare nurse staffing recently secured a contract to provide 50 nurses to a local healthcare organization. The healthcare nurse staffing company would pay their nurses $28 per hour, and the nurses would work a 40-hour work week. The nurse staffing company would then turn around and invoice the hospital at $36 per hour for each 40-hour work week per nurse. The healthcare organization pays their invoices in 60 days. The issue: the healthcare nurse staffing company must now be in a position to fund biweekly payroll, pay their nurses every 2 weeks to perform on this contract, and the total contract value is $576,000. So the payroll looks something like this: $28 per hour, which is the hourly wage per nurse, times 50, the number of nurses, times 40, the hours per week for each nurse, times 2, the number of weeks in the payroll period, $112,000. The invoicing looks something like this: $36, which is the hourly wage per nurse, times 50, the number of nurses, times 40, the hours per week for each nurse, times 2, the number of weeks in the payroll period, $144,000. Well, healthcare nurse staffing didn't have this type of money, nor did she know where she was going to get this type of money to make her payroll. So she went to the bank, but she was declined because they didn't have any hard assets to pledge as security to obtain a loan. Think about this for a second. What could they pledge as security? They rent the office space, and when you walk in the front door of their office, you would see a small reception area. You walk down the hall, to the right a small kitchen with a microwave, a small refrigerator. To the left, a few desks with computers, a phone system, and a few pictures on the wall. The only inventory they have is people, nurses. You can't pledge humans as security to the bank. So what was she to do now? Remembering that she was recently exposed to the concept of factoring by a business consultant, she contacted that individual, and the transaction that we structured went on to look something like this. Total value of the biweekly invoicing, $144,000. The factor ended up advancing 90%. 90% times $144,000 equals an advance of $129,600. The factor in this case charged a discount fee of 2% for every 30 days the invoice was outstanding. And the healthcare organization pays their invoices in how many days? 60 days. So 2% for the first 30 days, 2% for the next 30 days equals 4%. 4% times the total value of the biweekly invoicing at $144,000 equals discount fees charged by the factor of $5,760. If you were the business consultant that referred this deal to us, how much would you earn? 15%. 15% times $5,760 times 2, the number of payroll periods in a month, equals monthly reoccurring commission of $3,456. Imagine what it would feel like to have an extra $3,456 coming into your household right now each and every month. What about all the other customers that healthcare nurse staffing renders services for? Do you know why healthcare nurse staffing is getting paid so late? It's because their customers are always paying late. And do you know why their customers are always paying late? It's because their customers are always paying them late. That customer list now becomes your new prospect list, and you can expose and educate that customer list through your happy client, and we will help close all of the transactions for you. Now guys, I apologize. I may have to pause here for a few seconds to change my mic over because I see a little warning light going off. And Jessica, if you could help me change this over, please, before I lose the audio. Okay, so let me continue. So how many deals are you going to need to find to reach your financial goal? I bet you it's not as many as you thought, huh? So let me ask you this question. With some more practical information, training, and our unparalleled support to intercept, structure, and close all of your transactions, do you think that you could find just one company that could benefit from factoring? Just one. If you said yes, here's what I want you to do. Please copy this website address down: www.thetfi.com. So let me get out of the presentation and jump on the internet live with you, and I see Jessica has another mic queued up for me to use, so I will be right back. Okay guys, here we are right now at www.thetfi.com. This is our advanced cash flow consultant training website. Using robust and cutting-edge technology, we can provide you everything that you will ever need. Practical, short, and concise information, leaving no stones unturned, with must-to-know information and step-by-step instructions showing you exactly how to execute strategies so you're prepared to find your first transaction within a few days of this training. Now, to access the entire video lineup, I want you to scroll up here to the top right-hand side of the website where you see Contact Us tab, and to the left of it you'll see Member Login. Give it a click, and you will be redirected to this page here. After you become a member, you will receive your own username and password. Simply enter your credentials to gain 24/7, 365 access to all of the training videos from any mobile device, laptop, computer, cell phone, etc. that has an internet connection. Please make note of this. You can also view the entire training curriculum as a non-member, and I encourage all of you to do this after we finish up here in a few minutes by simply scrolling down here to the bottom right-hand side where you see Select a Module, TFI Module 1, 2, 3, and 4. You see that here? Go ahead and give TFI Module 1 a click, and you will be redirected to the entire lineup of the videos that are included in TFI Module 1. Okay, let's give TFI Module 2 a click. Now guys, anytime that you scroll through the list and you arrive at the bottom of the page and you see something called older entries, you see that down here? This means that there are more videos associated with this module on the next page. Simply give it a click and you're redirected to the next page to continue your learning experience. Now I only have a few more minutes, so let me just highlight a couple of these videos. For example, video 19, the communication process. Learning what to say, learning how to say it, learning when to say it can make you look like a seasoned professional even if it's the first time that you're speaking to your first prospect or business contact. Learning how to follow our 80-20 rule when it comes to communication is vital to your success. Learning how to call the prospect to a simple call to action to complete the short client profile is your only objective. Video 19 will teach you exactly how to do this using my script, a script that I have been using for over 15 years, a script that my file managers use, a script that you use because it's going to work. Okay, let me get out of here and get back into the presentation. 1 second. Okay, in addition to the online training videos, you will also receive a copy of the Take Action Training Workbook, a series of multiple choice and true and false questions that complement the videos. A little secret for you, the answers to the questions are in the back of the workbook. So if you answered yes, you believe you could find just one company with customers that are always paying late, I want you to go ahead and schedule a follow-up call with me. During this call, I will answer all the questions that you may have, get you registered for the online training videos, and discuss next steps. To schedule this call, just use my online scheduling system by visiting this link, www.thetfi.com/Mike. This concludes the industry corporate overview. I hope you got some extreme value out of the information I just shared with you, and you enjoyed receiving the information as much as I did presenting it to you. If you're like me, only a few great opportunities will land on your doorstep. Don't be like a lot of people who will ignore these opportunities because they don't recognize them out of ignorance or fear because they're new to you. Today represents the single best time in history to be working in the factoring industry, and it will continue to be that way for the unforeseen future. The banks aren't lending, and customers are always paying late. Here is your opportunity to quickly learn how to leverage your professional skills, your background, and contacts. Invest a little time in yourself and in your future. You will be extremely happy that you did. Thank you again for watching. Until I speak with you again, bye for now.